Hey guys, welcome to the Roundtable. I'm Amir.
I'm Tim.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Brian.
And this week, our favorite bosses.
Bowser.
Of course.
Number one of all time, Bowser.
Get that out of the way.
Let's just get that out of the way. It's happening.
Unanimous end of discussion? End of discussion?
Yeah.
Is that it? A good show, everybody. All right.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.
Later.
45
Yeah.
seconds,
All right.
that's all we need.
That's
No,
right.
Bowser's like the greatest video game villain of all time. Like a couple of things, Gladys from Portal is beating him out, which is extremely upsetting to me.
Yeah.
Not as many people have played Portal. Of all the years that Bowser has been around, I have no statistics to prove this, but I would assume that he has killed us more times than any other boss. Between all the games and how long he's been around,
Yeah.
number one
Yep.
of all time.
Would you?
Is that what we're basing this on? How many times a boss killed you?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah,
I'm just
argument.
to support the argument, because if you think about it, I mean, I can't think of a time where I beat him first try. You always die at least twice.
Well, except for the first world in Super Mario Brothers. It was pretty easy.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I guess I'm thinking
True.
like final boss battles.
Which Bowser's your favorite?
I have two,
Okay.
and they're actually very time-wise, very widely spread apart. Super Mario World Bowser at the very end when he's in the little clown thing. At first he's just kind of floating around, and then he kind of does this, and then he starts bouncing on the ground after you and throwing out these little turtles. You have to throw up and hit him in the head. That's my first favorite Bowser because that was the first Mario game that I ever beat. So that's like nostalgia, and plus it was just really fun and silly. And he goes, "Wah!"
Good reason.
Then I know it's just the laugh. That's really what gets you. Second favorite Bowser battle was actually Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. That was an extraordinarily intense fight at the very end because the whole time you do basically the same boss fight where Spoilers. Yeah, don't listen if you haven't played it.
It's been out for 2 years. Spoilers.
That's been 2 years, hasn't it? Yes. Anyway. Damn. The whole time, all the boss battles are the same, where he falls in the lava and becomes a skeleton and comes back out after you. And the last one, however, you're running up this spiral staircase that's kind of floating in the air. And Bowser is not only spitting fireballs at you, but he's knocking down the spiral staircase behind you. So while you're having to dodge these fireballs, you have nowhere to run backwards. So it's this really intense, if you stop for 1 second, you're going to die, but if you don't stop to dodge the fireballs, you're going to die.
You're gonna die.
And it's just amazing.
So
He's a beautiful creature.
Even Skeleton Bowser was
Especially Skeleton Bowser.
Mecha Bowser.
Mecha Bowser.
Oh, dear.
Bowser's one of those bosses who kind of aged pretty well.
He's
Throughout
timeless.
his- he's
Yeah,
had a very
definitely.
prolific career as a bad guy.
He's like a pearl necklace.
He's only gotten stronger. He started out only being able to shoot backwards fireballs
Yeah.
and would just jump around haphazardly
King
and
Koopa.
ruin everything. But yeah, I mean, he's gotten a lot
And he
better.
just keeps
He's
bringing
in
the
Smash
princess
Brothers,
back.
for crying out
You know
loud.
she's into it.
He's a hell
He's
of a
not
tennis
kidnapping
player.
her.
For Bowser, the thing that stands out most to me, and I know this is so stupid, is Super Mario 64.
Yes.
Yes.
And figuring out that I
Grab
have
that
to grab
tail.
his tail and
Yeah.
spinning him around. And I was just the smile on my face.
Because you never get close to him. You're not supposed to
This
get
is
close
so
to him. He's scary.
cute.
Yeah.
He's adorable, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just so adorable. He's so beautiful. Bowser's amazing.
Wow. But that did get kind of annoying after about 15 minutes of circling the last iteration of him, trying to get behind him to grab
he's
that
moving so
stupid
fast.
tail.
Yeah.
You just keep going.
Does
like
get
this.
Oh, it's like what that
Your
one-
thumb gets a blister because you're just doing this.
That
on
dog
the-
sucked
on the-
on
yeah.
this.
It keeps going. It kind of started like that, with Mario 64, but it got kind of comical, the fights that because in Super Mario Galaxy in the first one, you're on that big ball and he lands on one. You have to make him land on one of these circles, and then he runs around holding his butt. It's just funny. It burns his butt, and he's in pain and needs
Well,
some.
Super Mario 64, he also holds his butt when you throw him off. And then he.
Oh
comes back and
yeah,
holds it.
see, that's what it's like. It got more comical as time went on.
You would think that in Mario Galaxy there would be like.
I feel like he
on his
really
butt
does
to show
promote
all
abuse
those
to animals,
injuries.
though. Not really. That was
Yes,
total
he
shit.
should have King Hippo's bandage. There you go.
Yes. yes.
And nobody
Kick
ever
the
tells you
turtle
who the
shell
mom is of all those children in Super Mario World. I bet it was Peach, that slut.
Speaking of which, if we
Wow.
wow.
Maybe it was Daisy. I don't know.
Nobody cares about Daisy.
Yeah.
Punch
She's a
out.
hussy.
Yeah.
Punch out. Who would we consider a boss? Would it be whoever like the last person in the circuit? Because to me, it's like almost every fighter is a boss. to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Well, you'd probably have to go with Mike Tyson / Mr. Dream.
Dream.
I was original Punch Out, so I didn't have the Mike Tyson battle. So
Right.
I didn't
was
even think I
stunned
would
by Mr.
mention
Green.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but Mike Tyson was actually kind of one of my favorite bosses.
Yeah.
It took years for me to finally beat him because I wasn't that committed when I was a kid to beat him.
Yeah.
But years later, when I revisited the game and I really wanted to get into it, that was a lot of fun.
I still haven't beaten him. I tried to go back and I made it all the way through.
It's hard. It's not
Yeah.
an easy game by any means.
No. You got to be committed. You got to say, I'm going to. You're gonna.
You also have to listen to Eye of the Tiger a lot.
Yeah, you got to eat lightning and crop thunder. Otherwise, you're not going to get through to the end.
The only way I was able to beat Mike Tyson was if I actually didn't watch the game. You kind of have to get into the zone where you just stare at the center of the screen and you're just looking for that. Because he's the only fighter that has the blue flash before he jabs. And it's those jabs that take you out.
Yep.
Everything else you can read like everybody else, but those jabs are just so fast. So you have to look for that little blue light. And I couldn't get that when I was a kid, but when I was older, it was just like, okay, don't look at Mike Tyson. Just look at the center of the screen, and any color change, that's when you dodge. and that worked. And I beat him the one time I did that.
I'm just
The one
envisioning Amir in like this like rock garden.
Use the
Crosses.
pulse.
like with just sitting there in like this robe with
Like a
you know
monk.
just kind of just like be one with the blue flash.
Zen
And then
Punch Out.
he just picks up the controller and just starts madly mashing buttons. Yeah, that's what I've
Doing
done.
it
Some
from
games
trained
actually do
position.
require some kind of concentration. You know, like, I noticed like really tense boss fights will make me. Actually, just when we were playing
Geometry Wars?
Yes, Geometry Wars. I don't know
There
why I
are
keep
no
saying
boss
Colony
fights in
Wars.
Geometry Wars.
Colony Wars.
He's gonna start calling
It was an awesome game. It was
good.
PlayStation 1.
I do remember that last battle where you
Do
do
you?
this little tiny little spaceship and the biggest ship in the game, and you have to take it out. Oh my gosh!
Classic.
Oh
I
my
never got to
gosh.
the end of that.
That was spoilers. That was fantastic.
Dude,
It
that
had
was
like 3
PlayStation
endings.
1.
Spoilers.
If you haven't
It
played
had
it.
three. It had 3 endings, and what I love is
Really?
that for the sequel they chose like the worst ending to pick up from.
Really?
Great, yeah. like the terrible ending for like the people in that universe. Like if that was if that really happened, they chose like the one that would be kind of like the worst for like Earth and stuff. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Definitely don't see that in movies
Yeah.
nowadays. Anyway, moving on.
I'm just gonna throw out some Metal Gear Solid out there.
Oh, man. So
I
many.
feel like I'm stealing this one from you, and I know I am. But you have to talk about Psycho Mantis.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the first person that came into mind when.
Yep, me
When I said
too.
that we
Well,
were gonna do this.
maybe
Thought you were
not.
gonna
Maybe
do
not right away the first, but definitely one of it.
Definitely the
And I could name a lot from the Metal Gear franchise just as a whole.
Oh yeah, just that one game, just the one
Yeah.
on PlayStation 1 was like every boss. Was,
The Vulcan Raven battle was really, really cool.
That was yeah. Actually, I did forget about that one, but that one was really good.
I mean, before I had even played the fight, somebody had already spilled the beans about spoilers about how to how to beat him, and you got to switch to
Shut off the
controller
fucking show.
port.
This is all
Yeah,
spoilers.
it's all
spoilers.
Um,
It's a spoiler cast.
And then I played through. Did you guys play the Twin Snakes, the GameCube
Yep.
reboot of it?
Yep.
I liked it a lot, and I had like way more good games for them to talk about when they were reading the memory card.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really smart, kind of messing with your head.
Mhm.
Fun.
Yeah,
It's good times.
My
Psycho
chair's
Mantis, man. Just so much stuff going on in there.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
little Easter eggs sitting around everywhere.
I don't even know how I because I didn't have to look it up. I discovered that I had to change the control port. I don't know how I got to that point where I realized I had to change
think-
the controller.
Yeah,
Does he
that's
drop
from
some
one
sort
to
of hint
second player.
somewhere?
Huh?
Maybe not.
I felt one with Hideo.
Oh, that's what it was.
Zen
Hideo
Metal
won.
Gear.
Again, back in his rock garden.
Yes.
where he's just-
I
His
closed
mind
my
palace.
eyes. I focused right in the center, and then when it went boop, and that Hideo thing came up on the top right, I was like, I don't have a Hideo channel. He's probably
Yeah.
telling me to change the controller.
yeah, and he just reaches over.
I know what it was. I know what the hint was that Psycho Mantis was reading the memory card.
Ah,
And I did have Konami games on there. I think it was a Castlevania game. Did Symphony of the Night come before that? I don't know if it was that one.
possibly,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he read something and he was like, "Oh, you must like action games. Oh, and I see that you saved often. You must be very cautious." Or whatever.
That's almost to the T
All that stuff.
exactly how he.
Dude, I
how
love
he says
that. Like that. It was the top favorite for me. And because he read the memory card, and I only had one memory card, and I just got frustrated. I couldn't beat him for days, but I refused to look it up or figure it out.
Yeah.
I wanted to figure it out all by myself. And I only had one memory card, and that was kind of my clue, where I was like, well, he read that memory card. Maybe if I switch the controller over. And then he beat me on that one when the beep happened again. I was like, well, what happens now? And that was the dumb part, because I figured out the hard thing, which was to switch the controller, but then he does it again, and stupid me didn't figure out to put the controller into the other one. Yeah. And that actually took me longer to figure out.
That you had to move it back.
Yeah, long-term brain fart, I guess.
That happens.
Yeah. Honorable mention from the Metal Gear series is the end from Snake Eater, that sniper battle.
Have you ever beat him fairly?
For the really extremely long, arduous way of going about and doing that? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No.
there's that. Did you do the whole change the time on your?
No.
Okay, that's what I did.
Okay.
I had to just change the time. I was like, I can't do this.
Didn't play it.
No.
No.
Spoiler.
Really good one.
Oops. Didn't play it. Probably not going to get around to Snake Eater. I might go back and do Twin Snakes.
Snake Eater is actually.
It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say it's best in franchise. I mean, I think it's. I can't decide which one is best in franchise.
Stealth espionage action. Not really my thing.
Yeah, it is more difficult. It is
Yeah.
a more time-consuming stealth. Like, how about Metal Gear Solid 1? Did you play that?
No, I played Twin Snakes. Like, I
Okay.
played some of the.
Yeah.
I played actually because a friend of mine had it and got to the last. The last boss in Metal Gear Solid. So I played a little bit of that boss battle.
Yeah.
But I played a little bit of
That's
Twin
a
Snakes.
shitty
and
spoiler.
Then,
Like, hey,
Well-
never seen this game? Take on the final boss.
Yeah, and I did not succeed. Needless to say, but I played a little bit of Twin Snakes. I got through the Psycho Mantis, and I just didn't finish it. So
You just didn't like the stealth?
No,
You're very anti-stealth.
I'm very anti-stealth. Unabashedly, I hate stealth.
I noticed that. 'Cause
I don't even-
We almost got into a heated debate over The Last of Us.
Yeah, we did. But I mean, even in Zelda, I hate the stealth in Zelda.
It's terrible.
There's
Zelda.
Zelda?
Like that
I can't.
in Wind Waker, that first little dungeon. It's so annoying.
I didn't even play Wind Waker.
I didn't play Wind Waker, so that one has stealth in it?
Oh, man. Don't overlook Wind Waker just for one little stealth thing.
I know. And then the stealth in stupid 3DS one. The Phantom Hourglass, where you have to go back through that temple again, and you have to hide from the stupid guards, and you get caught. And you get
I didn't
It was
play the
kind of a
Phantom
pain in the
Hourglass.
ass. I mean, it was cute.
I played
It's
the
one of my
Spirit
least-
Tracks, but
It's one of my least favorite Zelda
They
games. honestly.
fixed some of the stuff in Spirit Tracks that was wrong.
I hated
Phantom
Spirit
Hourglass.
Tracks.
I could totally
Then you would
understand.
hate Phantom Hourglass.
It's the stylus. The stylus controls for Link. I
hate it.
Yeah,
Stylus for video games, period, would bother me.
it works for
Yeah.
some things on 3DS.
Yeah.
like match 3 games.
Connect 4.
I'm trying to think, but I know I remember games where I was like, oh, this actually. What? Oh,
Bejeweled, of course.
Yeah,
no.
Medios was good on
It's the
DS.
sequel to a game with the Greek. Kid Icarus. Kid Icarus, it actually, you have to control part of it with, like. You don't like Kid Icarus? I like
Not
Kid
with the
Icarus.
stylus. No,
No,
I
I never
wanted
played it.
I wanted the add-on, but to get the.
Oh
it's a
yeah,
third
like
person
I forgot
action
that was the
game.
game that you were
Yeah.
supposed to. You had to get. There's like a separate thing you could get, so you had a.
You had dual analog
God, I'm not
sticks,
a brain. It's
analog
not where-
sliders.
Thank you. Yeah, where you could actually use it like it was doing
Yeah, I
analog
think
sticks.
so. What was the game? What was the game where it actually only made it left-handed? There was one of the games that
Resident
it
Evil.
supported it. Wasn't it?
Yeah, Revelations.
Yeah, it supported it, but it was just to make it left-handed.
Yeah, it was so if you were left-handed, you could use it.
What jerks.
I've almost picked
Yeah.
up Revelations on the latest
PC.
HD because it's been like really cheap.
Yeah,
And
I still haven't played it.
I played the demo.
I played part of it on 3DS,
Yeah.
but it was.
Yeah.
We're straying from the original topic. Anyway.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Bosses. Resident Evil bosses? Anybody? Nemesis.
Yeah.
Nemesis.
Nemesis was-
Nemesis was very memorable.
Yes.
That was my favorite Resident Evil before Resident Evil 4 came around. I
Right.
really, really liked Nemesis.
Stars.
Not a boss, but, and I don't know if you guys will remember this or recall this. Resident Evil 2. There's a scene where you're Leon, and you go into that police station for the first time, and you meet a police officer, and he's in like the blue shirt, and you talk to him, and he's laying on the floor, and he's about to die, and then you walk away, and you know that he's, that's it, he's gone. I don't even know if there's a gunshot or anything that you hear in the background, but It's really cool because back then, PlayStation 1, everything that was a narrative was a lot of hand-holding. And I don't mean like in the game itself. I mean like narrative-wise. Like they always, every game was like they needed to explain things. And I guess that's because the graphics weren't all that great. They couldn't capture the emotion on the face. So they had to over-explain everything.
Right.
But I remember like, and after a while you go through that police station and then that's it. You've discovered all the zombies. You're already having all these gunfights. And then you have to backtrack and you come back to that area. And one of the zombies is that guy in the blue shirt. And I thought that was the coolest. I was like, that was the first time I felt like they weren't holding my hand and they let me, have that narrative in my head. And I thought that was cool. And just shooting that guy felt so good.
Okay.
All the bosses in Resident Evil 4 were memorable to me because they were either ridiculously hard or...
The big giant things were really fun, I thought.
The dude with the chainsaw
whatever
was stuck
they're
in that
called.
house.
El Gigante.
Yeah.
You had to use the flash grenades. Those are awesome.
Yeah, and even the first guy with the chainsaw and the burlap sack on his head right in the beginning of the game.
That's when I knew I was playing something special.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh,
because
man.
you walk out. I mean, that's the first. You get to a save point, you walk out, and there he is. Like that's the first thing you hear that chainsaw, and you're like, oh fuck.
Oh, and then he kills you for sure, and it's
Like
the most graphic,
your head gets
terrifying.
and you see it like shaking as it's
man.
cutting
So
through bone.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
It sets
That's
the
a
tone for
great
the rest of the
game.
game.
Krauser is probably my favorite boss from Resident
Is
Evil
that because
4.
it rhymes with Bowser?
No, I didn't even think of that.
The secret is revealed.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even think of that. He's just a bitch.
Do you have a schnauzer?
You have the... No, I don't.
Did you like Luft Rousers?
Ooh.
This is
we
just
go.
getting hurtful.
I like it.
Doogie Howser?
You love
yes.
watching Doogie Howser.
Yeah.
But no, Krauser, just because I can't even say it.
Now I'm
Wasn't
just
that-
trying to think of more.
Wasn't that the name of the mouse
fucked
in
it up
2? Super Mario 2? Wasn't his name Krauser?
I don't remember.
There was that, or not mouse, but a rat. There was a rat enemy in 2, Super Mario Brothers 2, which wasn't really Super Mario Brothers 2, but anyway, that's another story.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I think it was like a Krauser or something. I think that's his name. Anyway,
I have no
Did
idea.
you guys ever play The Shadow of the Colossus?
Yes.
I was going to bring that up.
Every once again, kind of like only more epic. Every single boss battle, every time you fight one of the Colossi, you're just like,
My
They're so beautiful.
my favorite was the first one. Mostly because I didn't beat the full game, but I really really liked it, and I remember, and it doesn't take very long. I think you just got to play through the game about 20 or 30 minutes before you come up on them. But you're riding up on your horse, or maybe you're not on the horse. I don't remember. It's just a small little journey through the mountains, and then boom, there's this giant thing. And it's like that. Just I've got to get it. You sure? I have to climb it.
That's happening?
It's terrible, but no, it's incredible at the same time.
Actually, I wanted to ask you guys, because that's why I was going to bring it up. I've never played it, but I heard it was basically a game that was like a series of boss battles.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it. And then sort of platforming, puzzle-ish, trying to find the next boss.
So how does the
That's
game? How would the game play right now? Like, would I hate it? Because I have it in HD.
yeah, me too. I didn't get
I
around
don't
to it either.
I don't know if you'd like it or not, to be honest.
Apparently,
Uh,
Does it
I have no
control,
way
or
to
is it
judge, really.
does it
I
feel
mean-
clunky? Like,
The control, the way it controls, because I went back and tried to show it to one of my friends not too long ago. Yeah, I mean, if you compared to a lot of the control schemes and the very crisp controls that we have nowadays, especially for third-person action platformers, it's not the most responsive. I hate controlling the horse; it's really terrible.
the horse controlling it's really awkward.
because I just tried to play Kingdom Hearts HD.
Yeah.
And I
That's
hated,
really
I mean, I
dated.
loved it and I hated
That's
it at
really
the same
dated.
time. But most
Yeah.
the controls were just so dated.
Well, you can give me that game
Yeah.
then.
Oh, okay.
I love
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
They were
I
they,
did too.
they weren't very
Actually
good at
have
the
that's
time.
one of my favorite bosses too. Is Ansem slash spoiler alert Ansem slash Riku. Whenever he spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert! You were warned. You could have covered your ears.
I thought you had to could have. Maybe I should.
I had a. I was going to talk about
Sorry.
Kingdom Hearts too, but I'm not going to now. That's
No, do it.
just to talk about it, is one of the most difficult times I've had with a boss is Sephiroth in that game
Oh,
because I had
God,
leveled
yeah.
up.
Oh my God! No,
I didn't.
Sorry.
I didn't level up enough. I was just kind of trying to scream, blaze through the game, and I couldn't go back to grind from the save point that I had. So, and I couldn't beat him. I couldn't. It was next to impossible. So I just had to start over.
Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong.
I had more problems with Rico.
I went back and
than
beat
I
it.
did
I
Sephiroth.
forced myself.
I didn't know that Kingdom Hearts was a grinder. I didn't know that I should keep
This is a Square Enix game.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was
sometimes.
Squaresoft at the time, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Square. They
Really?
hadn't
Was it
purchased
still-
Enix yet.
Yeah, it was Squaresoft.
Back when
Definitely.
the original came out.
I mean, the Square Enix thing
Like
only happened
2002
after
or
the Spirits Within film.
Yeah. Well, the Spirits Within is just like the third disc of a old PlayStation Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
If you look at it, because you come in at that like the last, we collecting the last three whatevers.
Yeah.
And that's where kind of, and it was a complete departure. Actually, it foreshadowed all of the kind of the direction that we got in, where they were getting away from the that kind of medieval sort of feel to it, and they were moving toward these different themes in where it's more futuristic,
Yeah.
like we saw that in Final Fantasy VIII, and they kind of went back
7.
in 9, and then we've just been going off into land ever since.
Except for 12, they kind of they had some
12
of
and
the
back a
a
little
little
I'm not a
more
huge
old
Final
school
Fantasy
ones.
person. I really can't get into them.
I
Which makes
tried-
me
I
a
tried
horrible
You have to
person.
mention
three times.
Sephiroth on
Three
this.
times with 7, and I couldn't do
How
it.
far did you get in 7?
When it was on discs, I got to disc 2.
You did, and you didn't keep going?
No. It was just difficult narrative. Like if you didn't pay close attention sometimes to dialogue,
Yeah.
and it told you
True.
where to go, and you wanted to search around the town,
Yeah.
and then you missed it, and you wanted to go around the town and find out what you needed to do next, you wouldn't be able to because the dialogue doesn't change. It didn't update anything based on what you needed to do next.
Yeah.
Unless you were already there, which is really not helpful at all.
And especially if
Yeah.
you're not willing to, hop on the internet and see where you need to go to get back
yes.
on track,
Well,
you're
I had the
basically
guide.
screwed.
So now I have like the
journal.
Well, then I had the PSP and I got Final Fantasy VII for that, and I was like, okay, well I'll play this on the train every time I go to work and whatever. And I put it on, and I'm on the train. I can't focus on every little piece of dialogue, but there was this one point where I get up to I need to find a temple, some kind of temple. And at that point, I don't have like an airship or plane yet. It's more like this broken thing that goes on the water.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find out where this temple is. Well, age of the internet now, I can go and look it up.
Yeah.
So I go on YouTube. I mean, I don't know the name of the temple now, but I did then. I actually put in this temple. There was a wiki page dedicated to it.
Yeah.
There were user-made strategy guides dedicated to it. Nobody told me how to get to that temple. One of them told me how to get to the temple, and then I followed the direction, and it still was not there. So I was like, all right, I'm done. And that was actually a month of trying to find this temple.
A month?
A month of 45
That'll put a
minutes
bad
day.
taste in your mouth for a game.
That would.
A
I don't
month
know
of 45
how.
minutes a day, 5 days a week,
Yeah.
so that's 25,
That's
that's
terrible.
45-minute tries. So I was just like,
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't have that much patience for it. I would.
Yeah.
No.
I would have just thrown my.
Yeah, I was done, and then
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a crying
And
shame.
then I went to
It is.
Portable Ops, and I was happy. It's good.
It's a good day.
Yeah.
Ganondorf.
I was so glad. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't even think. Like, I don't know how I didn't remember to think of
Yeah.
him, but how I
Yeah.
didn't remember to think of him.
Oh man.
Which one?
Oh goodness.
Yeah, there's.
Okay, so I love Ocarina of Time, and it's always, going to probably be at the top of my list in terms of just my favorite game. It moves around on that list, but the last battle, I don't know. I played it so many times. I really liked the whole sort of playing tennis with the energy beams back and forth. I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty
That's
cool.
classic Zelda.
And then you kind of get like his normal form, and then you get his big giant beast form, and then you finish him off, and it's really awesome. And also, I liked the art style of Wind Waker.
It holds up well nowadays.
The ending of Wind Waker I thought was really cool. And also, I'm just going to list them all. The last fight in Twilight Princess was one of my favorites because it was the first one to really sit you in this area and say you can't leave here, and you were having a sword fight, a straight up sword fight, and use your skills. And it's not very easy to beat them. So.
He possesses Zelda too at that point.
Yeah,
which was cool.
I really liked that.
By the time I got to that boss battle, though, I was so done with Twilight Princess.
The wolf,
I was like,
the wolf
you're like, yes, Sky
transformation kinda
Temple.
kills it.
Not even just that. You're like, finally, Sky Temple's like, no. Run around the entire fucking universe and activate these little things, then you can go. And I'm like, no, just fucking take me there and done. I just want to fight Ganondorf at
I
this
hate
point.
that.
I'm like, come on. I was getting so impatient at that point. But anyway, continue.
I mean,
that was my child of light gripe that we talked about weeks ago.
I remember you talking about that, and I immediately thought of Twilight Princess whenever you were talking about that.
Gotcha.
You know, and I like the 2D top-down Zeldas just as much too, but they just
yes.
they never really seem to stand out in my mind as much.
That's okay.
Just
We love you
visually.
You're allowed to be wrong.
with your opinions of favoritism.
Yeah, I mean that's about all I got about Ganondorf. He's the
Ridley.
Can I cuss on this show? Because I almost.
I just said fuck like
He's
6
the
times.
shit. He's the shit.
Ridley, Super Metroid.
Yeah.
Loved Ridley there. And only because in the original Metroid, Ridley was just a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just somebody that you beat. And that was it. I mean,
Well, he was a
all
mini
of
boss.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was like, when you got up to him, you were like, oh, crap. You know,
Yeah.
but Ridley in Super Metroid was like...
So much, yeah.
They turned him into, like, this really imposing character.
That little tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a boss anymore. Like, it was an epic fight now.
Yeah.
Like, this was somebody you needed to fear.
Well, and they set it up beautifully at the beginning because he swoops in and, destroys that station and steals
And even
the
he,
baby
like,
Metroid.
yeah, and through the franchise, he kind of has a narrative, like
Yeah.
Other M also. Kind of like, it just...
I don't want
I
to
almost
talk about
feel-
Other M. God.
Forget the voice acting, forget the female trope. The
Okay.
gameplay itself, at its core, if you
Yeah.
disregard everything else and what they were trying to say, trying to progress the story from
The
Super
platform. The
Metroid,
platform was good.
it was a solid
The
game.
Other M. That's what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
Other
It
M.
was definitely a
really like
solid
Fusion a
Metroid
lot.
game. Haven't played
Haven't played
I
Fusion.
love Fusion.
Fusion was great. Zero Mission was good.
Yeah.
As well.
I didn't finish that, but I liked it pretty good.
Yeah, we half-assed. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, I haven't played that. Well, I haven't finished it.
It happens.
Did anybody, speaking of Metroid, did anybody actually enjoy Mother Brain? Fighting Mother Brain?
Which Metroid?
Was she in Super Metroid?
That is the ending that is like that's my ending for video games. Like
Really?
the way that Super Metroid ends, where you go down through the same area where you were in the previous game, basically.
Yes.
And they've got that little hallway where they have just the
So it wasn't
the
Super
sand.
Metroid.
Yeah, she was.
And that's why I'm blurring the two, because they're so similar. Okay.
Yeah, and you go through and you get to that hallway where it's just you have these enemies that were at one point were like really strong, and you had to get the special weapon to go ahead to get through them more quickly, and they're just sand, and you go up into the touch and they just disintegrate, and you get to the end, and this big fucking Metroid comes out of nowhere and just sucks the life out of you, and you're dropping bombs, and you're trying to get it, you're like, what's going on? And then it stops
Yeah.
and leaves you with 1 health point. And then just kind of floats above you, makes some little sounds, and then just flies away. And then at the very end, spoilers, at the very end, you have that tradition, that same sort of boss fight, but it turns into big effing Mother Brain, and you're about to die, and the Metroid comes in, attacks the Mother Brain, and then Mother Brain kills the Metroid.
It was an awesome ending.
Kills the Metroid, and
I really want
gives
to
you the
replay
power.
games now.
Yeah, that was like a really good description. And
Yeah,
way
it
to,
was.
suck people in.
Yeah.
That
No,
was-
totally.
those
You
games
just
are-
reminded me about all the emotions I went through.
That was
on
no,
that
and I'm like feeling it right now because
Yeah.
it was just like, I was
You
like,
get a little teary.
ending. Yeah.
no,
And that is actually that's
Oh,
actually
no.
why I love the not how they presented it, but I love the narrative of Other M because
Yeah.
it was kind of Samus in that opening scene thinking about that Metroid.
yeah, Yeah.
Which was like I remember how I felt then.
yeah,
And
and that was the best part of the narrative.
it was.
The opening
it was.
scene.
Emotions.
But no, but that's the thing, and that's why it's so sad. And they were talking about this actually a couple months ago on Podcast Beyond. Colin Moriarty was talking about how how sad it is that people get hung up on graphics and things like that, and they won't go back to play these games. Oh, that looks like crap. It's just but
That's not the.
the 16-bit these little sprites still had the capability to.
I don't think
evoke-
Illicit, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it necessarily has to do with graphics. I think it has to do more with gameplay and how they work because we tend to forget everything we had to go through as kids because we were a lot more patient back then because we didn't have it better We didn't know what better was. So, if a game had a glitch or a bug, we worked around it and we considered it part of the challenge. And we even do it today probably unknowingly, but when it gets better and it gets tighter, when you, like we said, Kingdom Hearts, I'm trying to go back to that, and it's too dated, it's too clunky. And even Metal Gear, which I love. I've been following Metal Gear since it was born in the 80s. And even that, if I try to go back, it's a chore to try to play them, and I can't recommend that to anybody.
That's one of the really good things about those, Metroidvania sort of platformer type games is they hold up so well to go back and just the core gameplay of them. And then you were talking about Shovel Knight earlier. Just that sort of style of game is, it's obviously nostalgic, but there's more to it than that. Even it worked for a reason. And to see people come back and really bring new technology to a tried and true sort of way of making a game, I think it's really, really interesting, really exciting to see where they can go with it.
I've never beat a Mega Man.
Really?
Yeah, I've never beat a Mega Man, and in most cases, I haven't even gotten past the second boss. I don't think in any Mega Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotta do it in the right order.
Admission.
Yeah, exactly. Got to do it in the right order. So I just not
even like Mega Man 10 when that came out. I thought that came out a few years ago.
It did, but I think that came out at a time. I think it was Mega Man 9.
Yeah.
9.
They had a 10 also.
So,
but 9, I was like, oh, cool. I want to get into Mega Man again. But I think that there were other releases at that time that just took my attention away immediately, and I was just like, okay. And it became like a backlog game. Right. And the problem with a digital download is that you don't see it on your shelf. It's not part of your collection. You kind of forget that you even own it.
Yeah.
So I had that problem. But one of the things was, as I always felt that Mega Man's bosses, just by the tiles, and that's all I have to go by.
Because you never got to play.
Just by the tiles of like which boss am I going to go to, and of course I played a few of them.
Concrete Man.
To me, they felt very generic. To me, they just felt very.
What do you mean generic?
They just seemed like generic, like.
By the 9th and 10th one, Paper Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Paper Airplane Man.
Were there any Mega Man bosses that stood out to you? To any of you?
Oh goodness.
Well, usually the first ones. Like I played Mega Man X. I
liked Mega Man X a lot.
So many times, and I fought that stupid penguin. I don't know how many freaking times I beat that penguin and the storm owl. Just fought them to death. But I remember the boss fights with Sigma at the end of X2 and X, because X2 was the first Mega Man game that I beat. And I was just like, you know what? I got the little number grid from X. I'm in the last part of Sigma's little, whatever. I'm going to go back and I'm going to beat Mega Man X now. And son of a gun, I did.
Nice.
Of course, then I got all of the upgrades for the Mega Man and Mega Man X3, and that didn't really pan out for me again in the boss fight with Sigma. And then I tried to go back to the old Mega Man games, and then I got to Dr. Wily's Castle, and I just sort of died a little bit. My luck.
Did you guys play? I think my favorite was Mega Man 8. And I don't know if it originally came out for the PlayStation. That was the first time I played it.
Mm-hmm.
It was the copy I had was like Anniversary Edition or something like that.
Yep.
I missed out on that.
I love that game.
Yep.
The problem with Mega Man and the bosses is that a little bit to what you were talking about, them being, I don't know if I'd call them generic, but they all seem to sort of blur together in my head. Now I can sort of remember some of the powers that I liked to use a lot. But nothing really just memorable that stands out.
And that was the thing. It didn't captivate me enough to try. Because you have to beat the bosses in a certain order, so you have the powers to go.
You don't have to.
You don't have to. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it technically. Like if you memorize the patterns and you're that you're that good with the buttons, and that's kind of the cool thing. And Shovel Knight's the same way. It's like you can go through it without any of the upgrades. All the upgrades are optional in Shovel Knight. You don't have to. You could buy them, but you don't have to do it. You can go through just hitting people with your shovel.
That's good.
So,
especially if people are complaining about it being too easy or something like that, you just have the option of kind of making it harder on yourself.
Yeah.
But you had to like it enough to want to have that challenge, and so so I completely understand. It's just like you just get frustrated, and you're just like, it's not worth my time.
Yeah. Well, I mean that wasn't really what it was. I always felt that you have to beat the bosses in a certain order to get enough powers to move ahead. And okay, maybe I just wasn't good enough to do without that. But
I sure as heck wasn't.
I wasn't.
Yeah, that's
It's hard.
But
well, you don't have to. It's extraordinarily helpful.
Oh yeah.
But when they're called like these generic names and they all kind of seem like generic, there was no real incentive to be like,
Windman.
Oh, cool, I'm going to try this one.
Cutterman.
There was none of that for me.
Hold it, Wily. Well, the character's name is Mega Man. That's not exactly original.
Like Mega Man itself is kind of generic. It's just like they were going to go with Superman, but shit, that's taken. So
Yeah.
damn you, DC.
Anyway, but but the games with bosses. What else is basically, or what else has like really good mini bosses?
God of War.
Oh,
God of War. Yeah.
God of War 2. My favorite is what's her name? The third sister of Fate, Clothos. Which, if anybody knows anything about Greek mythology, she's described as being beautiful. She's like this young maiden, and she's the youngest of the sisters of Fate, and all this stuff, and she's wonderful, and blah 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 blah, blah all this jazz. Worshipped. In the game, she's this giant tit monster, and she's just fat and tits and gray, and she really like.
I love her.
You're running up this spiral staircase around her, and you just see fat rolls and tits, and then you get up to her head, and all she does is like you actually have to use time against her and slow down time, but she's just using her arms to slap at you. But she looks like. You guys ever watched the movie Slither? If you guys have ever watched the movie
creepy.
Slither, whenever she's well, I like horror movies, but it's really funny actually. But there's a part where this woman is in a barn and she's like, something's wrong with me, and she's like all fat and swollen because she's this birth mother. That's exactly what I think of every time I play God of War 2. She's just this giant thing that slaps her little fat arms around at you, and it's one of my favorite boss battles just because I couldn't help but laugh at her. I was like, look at your little arms. But what I love about God of War is that every time you fight a boss, like when you first fight a Minotaur, like eventually that becomes just a common enemy.
Yeah.
And Sirens, the same thing.
And God of War is really set up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Those are that's one of those games to where I didn't mind kind of the button command sort of things come in, like the finishing moves and stuff.
Quick time event?
Yeah. Because I think you were talking about that earlier. I mean, you could definitely do that wrong, but I really liked because you got some really, really good scenes, I guess, from different ways of killing the enemies and stuff. That was really cool.
I mean,
my favorite was in God of War 3, and it was the first boss, but I'm having trouble remembering the god's name. The water.
Oh, Poseidon.
Yes.
I'm a Greek mythology, so it's very loosely based on Greek mythology, but I still really like the way that they did everything.
But Poseidon was great because I've never seen a level get altered for a boss. Yeah. Where it's like constant, like the whole level, like next thing you know, you're hanging and you're fighting him, and then you're running. It was just the most amazing. It's got to be like. It's got to be my top 5. If not number 1.
You're gonna like Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
Okay. Now putting it on.
Just deal with the horse and you'll like it.
What I love about all the God of War games is how, to me, all the bosses that lead up to the final boss are way better than like Ares was an okay boss fight, but it really wasn't that interesting.
I hated Ares.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard, but I was like, okay, now we're both giants.
But Zeus in God of War 3.
Zeus
that was
God
a
of War
really
2
great way to
end.
Yeah,
but I love. I thought that. But I thought that all the bosses that lead up to it are way cooler, just because the way that they interact with the environment, everything that they can do, and how, like the Siren when you first beat a Medusa, she's hard as balls.
Oh yeah.
And then Medusas or Gorgons just become common enemies. I love that they make these mini boss fights and then just turn them in, and you die 700 times trying to kill them, and then they turn them into. You're going to fight 15 of these at a time. Have fun.
And the cool thing about the design in a God of War game, moving away from the bosses a little bit, is that these guys that you're fighting, you're not really getting that much more powerful. Because I'm one of these people that'll like hoard all of their, like in Skyrim, I'll hoard the perks, and in God of War, I'll hoard the souls until I need it. And I noticed like I'm not even using.
That's Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Huh? I almost said red orbs. That's Devil May Cry.
I thought you were correcting me, and I was like, oh, man.
Oh, no. Well, no, I was going to say, like the red orbs. I was like, wait a minute, no, it's not that in God of War.
Yeah, but he rips open the little chests and the experience things.
Yeah, but
are they red?
Yeah, they're red, but they're not the red orbs. Red orbs
so they might be red. I don't know, whatever. But I'm not even upgrading stuff. And those same things, like, the Minotaur will come in, or...
Cyclops.
Yeah, and I'll just be able to later on when they become normal, I'm able to beat them. It's like I learned that skill, and that is really the sign of amazing game design is that you're learning something and you don't even know you're learning.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
I just want to, and this is going to be a bad reproduction, but it's like for anybody who played Doom or Doom 2, that was the sound, or that was part of this. That was like the hooves of like the cyber demon at the end, and he was this big, like bigger than any of the other bosses, and had a big like rocket launcher that would just take you out. And that was, and Doom was as much about level design as it was about shooting.
Was this a sequel? Doom 2?
Doom and Doom 2, both of them.
Both of them had
Cyber
this.
Demon, yeah.
Okay.
So and it was and then there were certain levels where and just like in God of War, eventually it became a more common sort of enemy, but where you had basically it was just corridors, and you had very enclosed spaces. And you had powerful weaponry, but like rocket launcher, your rocket launcher is going to hurt you just as much as it's going to hurt if you're in close. And so you're just like walking around corridors, and you hear off in the distance, and you're just like,
shit.
yeah. So but that's what I love about those old school. If you go back to like the Wolfenstein and the Doom and all those sort of first person shooters from back in the day, is there were those unexpected atmospheric sort of. Like you're just like, I just keep going, just keep moving, just keep moving, just keep moving. That you don't really find in like modern shooters as much, unless maybe if you look at the Shadow of Chernobyl or Metro kind of series, or was it Outlast? So yeah. Anyway,
disappointing bosses.
I
don't know why this came into mind. Was I always thought it would be really cool to have two Metal Gears. We're gonna have to cut. We'll be right back. My dog needs
intermission
help again.
Press pause.
Might be.
Yeah, it just puts that. Doesn't really stop. Anyway, we can go 2 minutes over if we need to.
Okay.
Or 15 minutes over.
So sorry about that, but
and we're back.
My dog has arthritis and needs help to get up. So that's why you're seeing in the past couple of weeks that I have to help her out.
Nico Bellic.
Yes, Nico.
Yeah.
So
also known as Kitty.
I would. Yeah. So I was saying,
big dog.
Kitty.
Most disappointing boss fight, because I thought it would be really cool, was in Metal Gear Solid 4. You actually have two Metal Gears fighting each other. And I thought that would be really cool, but I hated the whole fight.
Yeah, I wasn't too into it. I mean, it was cool, the act of what you were doing and sort of the meaning behind it. Especially if you had played through a lot of the Metal Gears and knew a lot of why that was going on. But in terms of essentially two big mechs attacking each other.
Yeah.
The gameplay, that aspect of it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Especially, you're looking at Konami, and they did Zone of the Enders. It's one of my favorite mech fighting games ever.
Yes.
Like, you could do better than that.
Yeah. But, I mean, those Metal Gears didn't control that way. They didn't have those. Yeah. But it also seemed silly because Metal Gear takes itself very seriously. Even though it has even though it has its quirks, of course, and it makes fun of itself, it's still... It's still based on, it's trying to be very serious. You don't have to suspend your disbelief too much.
Right.
But then you realize these two nuclear, they're not mechs, these are like military walking battle tanks, which is that's how they describe walking battle tanks that can destroy countries with like a nuclear assault, and here are these two fighting each other in this long, drawn out battle. And the other thing that kind of bothered me about Metal Gear later is that the mechs started to have sounds like they were beasts. Why are they screaming? And why does the Metal Gear Ray poop? Wait, no, it's not the Metal Gear Ray. It's in Metal Gear Solid 4, where like some kind of
When I was little, I read a book. And it's
Oh,
called
I know what you're
Everybody
talking
Poops.
about. Like the little. I know what you're talking about.
I'm like,
They sound. They even
That don't
sound like.
crazy.
They sound like cattle a little bit too.
Yes.
If I remember. Yeah.
Cows poop.
I
Maybe
guess
that's why.
Mechs don't.
Kojima has a
Kojima
thing
mechs
about.
do.
He does have a thing about
Yeah,
poop
he
because
just
the
wants it
Metal
in
Gear
there.
Solid
poop
5
is
demo
fine.
has like the horse's poop. At least now it's like something that actually poops.
besides
Normally,
Akiba.
With the horse's poop, okay, that's fine. Horses
right.
poop.
Yeah.
Attention to detail, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mechs don't poop, dude.
It's well, I mean, there has to be some sort of waste for the production, the energy production system, right? You know, there's got to be a waste product somehow,
Oil
and
discharge.
why not make your giant robot expel said waste by pooping it out?
Yeah,
Why not?
it's a good attack, really. Oil slick.
All this poop talk makes you think of Castle Crashers.
I love
Never
Castle
played it.
Crashers.
Oh, man.
I feel like the whole show is me saying I never played it.
That would be a good let's
That would be
is
that
the
is a great multiplayer.
That's a great
Oh,
let's
yeah.
play.
Really?
But yeah, because
It's got good RPG elements
Is this
too.
is this going to be like Geometry Wars? Where I'm just
No,
gonna be
no, you'd be
embarrassed?
able to jump in a lot
it's-
easier.
Yeah,
It's like
You'd be
co-op.
pretty good right off the bat with it too.
Okay.
yeah. But my favorite boss from Castle Crashers is Corn Boss. Everything in the game is adorable. Everything's trying to kill you, and it's all cute. But it's this giant ear of corn that at first is just like sitting there and it's just being whatever, and then all of a sudden when you start fighting it, its eyes get red, and it still is like the cutest angry thing you've ever seen. And then it just kind of spins around and goes underground and pops back up. But when you hit it, popcorn comes out, so it's like a constant source of health at the same time. But it's such a fun boss. It's so you're just like it's adorable.
You get a popcorn shower whenever you beat it too. You get a bunch
Yeah,
of
you
health at
do.
the end.
It's awesome. And
is
it's
this-
got the great. I'm not gonna say it's got the greatest ending when you save the last princess.
It's one of the
It's all cracked out
levels
and
in
weird.
there. Since we were just talking about poop,
Yeah, that's what made me.
you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
I do.
I'm not even gonna try to describe it.
I will.
It would take me a while.
No, it won't take me a
All
while.
right.
So you walk into the part of this level.
It's really funny.
And there's an owl sitting in a tree, and you hear this like boom, boom, like thundering sound off in the in the distance, and the bird just poops. And then you go across, you keep going, and you come across a bear.
It looks
and you think-
really scared, by the way.
Yeah,
too.
it looks really scared. You come across this bear, and you think, oh, that's what the bird was scared of. And all of a sudden, you hear the thundering noise. The bear gets really scared, and you just hear. Then you keep going. All four of the characters end up riding on these little deers. Deer, not deers. Deer. Someone gets to be the lucky one that there's just poop shooting out of the deer
Yep.
the whole time that you're running around.
Yep.
And then there's this little creepy boss at the end where it's this little black thing that just...
This
And
sounds-
that's the scary part. Is this little like black thing that's all cracked out like Mr. DiMartino from Daria. But he's got that one eye.
That's a reference.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a reference.
But I've
right
always
there.
thought that. I'm like, wow, that's Mr. DiMartino.
Yeah, those guys did a really good
Really
job
cute,
of making a
yeah,
funny
Behemoth.
game. Yeah.
Castle Crashers, did that ever release on the PlayStation Store?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it
Finally
did. Yes,
like
it did.
what, a year and a half, 2 years
Yeah.
after it was. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh man, that's a good one. It had a lot of
download, of
additional
course.
content, a lot of different characters you could get, a lot of fun things to do,
Yeah.
little battle arenas and crap like
And you
that.
can play as you eventually unlock playable characters,
Blah,
but you can be
blah.
the enemies that you fought because some of them are pretty difficult, but you can play as certain
Yeah.
enemies.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I want to say it was on PS Plus at one point. I may be wrong
it
about
might,
that.
I think you're right actually.
Probably.
I have
Once
it
again, another game that
somewhere.
doesn't translate well to mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
No way, that'd be horrible.
No.
It's no good.
No. Gotta have controller.
Yeah.
One thing I did not too terribly long ago was try and go back and beat some of the games from my childhood that I'd never beaten before, which is how I ended up making it to the end of Punch-Out and losing to Mr. Dream, which I thought was a grand achievement.
It was an honor.
I played through the original Mario and beat that for the first time. That was a great feeling. And
I still haven't.
And the original gold cartridge Zelda, beat that completely through for the first time.
Did you do
and
Master
another-
Quest too?
I did for. You talking about Ocarina of Time?
No,
No,
for
yeah,
for the original, for the gold.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, I was just curious.
Another game, sort of from that era that I had never beat but have played a lot of was Bionic Commando.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Did you guys ever beat that one?
Yes.
I have not.
No.
That's a very memorable boss to me.
Which one was the last
It's
one?
it's basically Hitler, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not basically Hitler.
It is Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Huh.
I remember just thinking, wow, that is a very strong reference.
Because it's even like little like 8-bit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
look
Were
at
there
it.
got
other
little
characters
swastikas
that
and
looked
stuff.
like Hitler besides that last
Bison?
boss?
No,
besides that last boss in
like
Bionic Commando.
Then you had the remake.
Because I remember the Hitler. I remember him being like earlier on, so I guess my memory is distorted. I do remember in Bionic Commando the helicopter, fighting the helicopter, and I love that. Speaking of which, wow, back to Metal Gear Solid, fighting the helicopter.
Here we go again.
Wait.
Heimdee.
Yes.
What's a Russian gunship doing here?
Wow.
Yes, that Heimdee battle was awesome. Totally awesome.
Yeah, it was. And then afterwards, you go down to fight Sniper Wolf, and you see the parachute off in the distance in that field. You know what I'm talking about? Where you lean
I'm
up
telling you,
against the
Metal
rail?
Gear Solid is like a collection of amazing bosses.
It is. It is so good.
I don't. Is there a bad one? Is there one that like you didn't like in Metal Gear? The original Metal Gear Solid. Sniper Wolf wasn't all that special, but
You did get to fight her twice.
Yeah, but she did make up for it in the emotion that she brings out of you.
I liked the Revolver Ocelot battle in the beginning. I thought that was a nice little way to nudge your way into the game.
Too. Let's just call this the Metal Gear Solid show.
Yeah.
Just talk about all the bosses from Metal Gear Solid.
We'll all go out and get Foxhound tattoos after this.
Wow. Wow.
No, seriously, let's do it.
No, seriously.
I would.
Decoy Octopus sucked because you never really got to see him.
I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant that one of the
you didn't even know it was him.
Exactly. That's what's it's like this is the enemy. These are all the bosses, and then I'm like,
what about that guy?
This guy just gets a heart attack. It's like, oh, that was Decoy Octopus. Oh shit, he was totally playing as this other person. You don't find out so much later, and you're like, oh, I totally forgot that was one of the members. It was awesome.
Yeah, I think we basically went through all of the bosses
Yeah.
for Metal Gear Solid the series.
I mean, it was a great game with a lot of.
In terms of a memorable ending, if there's the ending of a game that ever really stuck with me as a very powerful emotional experience, there are actually two that come to mind, but one of which is the ending to Snake Eater.
Yeah.
Huge, so pivotal. I don't know about pivotal, but oh man, powerful, better word.
Everything is Metal Gear.
It is.
Metal Gear.
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear and Zelda.
Well, we haven't really talked about any RPG.
I would,
And we won't,
yes.
because I have to go and help my dog.
Yeah.
One more pause.
One more pause.
Yes.
That's all right.
I feel like Bowser didn't get enough
It's a lot
time
of-
now.
it's
We're gonna go back.
Yeah, we only started the show with Bowser.
We're gonna end it with Bowser. Just kidding.
And we're back.
It begins
And
and ends
we're
with
back.
Bowser.
Just
Okay.
RPGs.
Yes.
RPG. So, my personal favorite of Final Fantasy RPG was 4, known as Final Fantasy 2 here in the States, and the end boss battle. Basically, you're just throwing your most powerful attacks at the wall and trying to survive, and that's really so. Zeromus is the last boss battle, and in and of itself, like if I had to recreate the pixels from memory, I probably couldn't do it. But I do remember because I played through that game so many times. But then, of course, you got Final Fantasy VII, and you have Sephiroth. Spoilers. Anyway.
In case you didn't know that Sephiroth was the final boss of Final Fantasy VII.
in case you couldn't tell.
Final Fantasy X was the one that sticks out for me that I enjoyed the most. Kind of like the whole last bit of the game felt like one continuous boss battle. It was really good, and that's one of my favorite endings overall. But I think the thing that sticks out most to me about the Final Fantasy world in terms of boss battles are just kind of like the extra bosses that you just do to see if you can beat them. Like Ruby Weapon,
and Emerald Weapon, and 7. Yeah,
they're fun because they're so challenging. I never beat any of them, but
oh man, that's where my clock counter went from 99 and just kept going 99 0 1 2 3 4 99 0 like just way over 100 hours.
It was hard to even get an encounter with them, wasn't it? It was kind of a randomized thing.
Well, you had to go into certain specific areas and you had to grind the out of that game, like and level up the materia, like just chain Knights of the Round, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we go.
My favorite RPG games are Elder Scrolls. I mean, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim.
There you go.
Skyrim, Alduin's a good boss, but my favorite's still Mehrunes Dagon from Oblivion, just because you don't really fight him. You don't. You're running like hell from him, trying to protect Sean Bean, who's going to ultimately die anyway. But, you know,
that's kind of what he does.
Yeah,
he does.
That's what he's good at. But he dies to
goes.
become Akatosh in this and kicks some ass. But you're running from, and I always wanted to look up his skirt. He's just stereotypical. He's this like stereotypical demon. He's red and horns and got 3 arms, and he's wearing like this chainmail skirt. And I was always just like, "Can I get up there? What's going on?" But you just have to fight to protect Martin, and it's just really intense because you're running through the Imperial City as he's destroying everything.
When I got to that final segment in Oblivion, where the 2, I guess, dragons or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Akatosh and Mehrunes Dagon.
You
don't know their names.
Well, sorry, it's been a while, and I'm still obsessed with Skyrim to the point where.
Well, they're both mentioned anyway.
I know. Gosh,
The exclusion of all else.
gosh, Jessica.
Chance for a one-hit kill.
But I felt like that was a wasted opportunity. It was like, give me some kind of gameplay element so I could be involved in. Why am I just looking at these 2 people?
Well, because it's one of those things too. Kind of like I feel like the end boss of I think that Atlas in Bioshock is really disappointing because he's not that difficult of a boss. You just gotta dodge him, and that's not hard at all.
Mm-hmm.
However,
Oh, Jesus.
the
Let me help.
pause.
Yep.
Pause.
Amir's gonna have a lot of editing to do. We'll be right back.
Bowser.
Bowser.
So unbalanced.
Bioshock,
Interrupted
It's
by
kind
Nico
of like
Bellic.
with Bioshock at the end. Atlas isn't a difficult boss at all. He's really easy to kill. You just have to be able to dodge him, you know, and use your plasmids to hurt him and then drain his atom. It's really easy. However, the 15-20 minutes leading up to him will kick your ass, and that's how I feel it was with Oblivion. Was that you have to go into that last Oblivion gate with, you know, if you close the gates outside each town, you have all the guards and stuff from there helping you, but you have to go into that Oblivion gate, and it's the hardest one to try to close it, and then Mehrunes Dagon still makes it out, and you have to have Martin Septim.
Were you able to clear
Akatosh.
all the Oblivion gates without having to mess with the slider?
Yes.
Really? Shit.
I put 300 hours, like, at least.
Well done.
The cool thing, here's the best part. If you ever play, do you have Oblivion on PC?
Not on PC, no.
Get it on PC, use the console commands, because you know what you can do? Console command, click Mehrunes Dagon, type kill, enter, and he just falls. It's awesome. Because the first time I played through it on PC, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to do it right. And then the second time I was like, no, fuck this, kill. Works with every character, too.
That's awesome.
It's
Very
great.
convenient.
Yeah.
That
Click
is
him,
awesome.
Kill, enter.
Can you resurrect?
And then it still goes through with the thing where you still have to take Martin Septim to, like, that center area, and then you know, Mehrunes Dagon comes back. But it's just funny because he does just and fall to the ground. It's beautiful.
Awesome.
Nice.
And Alduin was a really good battle or a good boss fight in Skyrim. He just once again really wasn't that difficult.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
You have beaten it?
I haven't gotten to the end, no. I had it on PS3, and then I got the Yellow Light of Death at 160
Yeah,
hours.
about that.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
That was the reason that... And I wasn't even that far in the main quest, because I was
the
all
worst.
about the side quest.
That's the worst
Yeah.
Skyrim story I've ever
Amir, we
heard.
could save
That's
your
the worst
file.
boss in Skyrim.
No, it's gone.
Did you get rid of the PlayStation?
Yeah,
Oh.
I literally took a hammer to it.
Oh, bad call.
But
Oh, that sucks.
I saved a bunch of my files recently.
and I took a video of that,
Mm-hmm.
and then that video was corrupted. So it was a very
karma
sad.
for you.
So actually,
That's a lot of crap all at once.
yeah, and the sad part is that I heard the fan getting louder, and I was like, oh no, I can't lose this.
Yeah.
And so I opened it up, and we got like the Arctic Silver 5, and we
Yeah.
redid the thermo paste, and everything sounded like it was doing really well. And then a month later, gone.
That sucks.
See, that's where you don't take the step of, let me clean this out. I'm gonna take it all apart and I'm gonna put it back together again. That's where you back your up.
Yeah.
Oh no!
That's what you do.
No, I sent it to Gopher Mods. I guess that sounds like a plug. I sent it to Gopher Mods, and they repaired it so that I can back stuff up. I don't know what happened, but for some reason the backups didn't work, and I lost everything. And the dog is not getting my attention this time, so we're just going to continue.
Yep.
And you can
Kitty.
hear the dog.
Kitty.
But unnecessarily hard bosses in Uncharted and Uncharted 2, that just some of the most annoying boss battles, unnecessary, sort of just like.
I didn't like any of those endings.
And what I was talking about with like the quick time events and stuff like that in Golden Abyss, which is the Vita one, if you get to the end of that, it's all of the or several different places in boss battles. At some point, you get to where you have to swipe in certain directions for like knife movements on the Vita because it's taking advantage of the touchscreen that you got. Okay,
there you go.
And the last boss fight is like I don't know,
I remember
24 of just swipe, 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 swipe. And
That's
if you
awful.
and if you do it, and if you play through like you're trying to do it on like brutal difficulty, you miss once, and it's over, and you got to start all over. You got to start that boss fight all over. It's terrible. Thank God for checkpoints, though, because if there weren't for checkpoints in video games, there would be a lot fewer dead bosses. I have to tell you.
Speaking of which, having to start over. I finally got my Skyrim modded.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Now I can play it and enjoy it.
I think we mentioned this last week.
With your purple dildo?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you.
Well, no. The purple dildos I didn't get removed.
Right.
I ended up.
He left them in place.
He's
He's gotten used to them.
I don't have that mod.
I'd miss them if I got
Is this
rid
an
of
actual
them.
mod or is it like singing
No,
and
it's a Flora mod, but I have it combined with another thing that like makes all the grass grow and like increases the
that's
volume.
funny, too.
So the problem is that
That's what she said.
But whatever.
Anyway,
so
sorry.
anyway,
Go
I
ahead.
could remove them. They're just like a different size than the rest of the grass, so they just look like these giant human-sized purple dildos.
I love people that make things like that.
Yes. So, but I finally, got done. But now it's like super difficult because I have Frostfall on, and I have Skyrim redone, which enhances the AI, makes all the damages. It makes it a lot easier to damage somebody to death with just like 1 or 2 hits. So I started that one, and I have a random start mod, and it starts you in the north. On the beach. And I'm like, wow, this is a great setting. And I go straight into a cave, and I clear the cave, and I get all the gear that I need to start my game. And I'm like, oh, this was a great random start. I have it all captured, and it's great. But now I have to get to Solitude from there, and I have Frostfall on.
And you have to walk through the snow.
And I don't have a woodcutter's axe.
Oh, no.
So I freeze
So
to
you
death
keep
every
freezing.
time. So I have to keep restarting. So like, okay, I gotta find another spot to start.
Does
Go
the
get some
weather
walrus
dragon
blubber, man.
shout work?
Oh, yeah.
Frostfall?
He probably wouldn't have the Dragon Shout yet, though.
Oh, like starting a brand new game?
Yeah.
Okay.
And my alternate start, I shut off all the dragons too. Like they don't start, like the dragons don't come in until I go to a word wall and I reach a scripted dragon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog really needs me to walk over there and look at her.
Yeah.
She does.
Talk about a boss fight.
Yeah.
Tugs at your heartstrings.
Oh
Man,
my God.
I wonder what the show's gonna look like after we chop it up like crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't chop suey.
Yeah.
It's chop suey.
Don't judge us for the edits.
just judge him.
Yeah, just don't judge us, just judge him.
Yeah.
But I don't mind all the bosses where it's just like, you have to match the buttons. Because Bayonetta had a lot of those.
Yeah, I was wondering how long it would take you to talk about Bayonetta.
I've been thinking about it the whole time. I've just been trying to say because one of my favorite bosses is one of my favorite bosses because he's difficult to beat anyway, but he looks like David Bowie. And I'm like, oh my
Perfect.
God, please start singing Changes. Like, come on. Do it. And it's kind of, there's the weird Japanese storyline in Bayonetta where spoiler alert, you're not sure if this is like you in a past, like this little girl is you or if it's your daughter. I don't really know what's going on. And then David Bowie's your dad, but also her dad. So I don't know what the hell's going on in the storyline. It's really weird. But
It's really weird that you're even mentioning David Bowie.
he looks like David Bowie. Father Balder,
Because I
look it
keep
up.
thinking David Bowie. I haven't played Bayonetta.
When you see the picture, just look it up, Father Balder.
Can you get to this boss quickly?
Hmm?
Can you get to this boss quickly, David Bowie?
No, he's the second to last boss.
Oh.
Every
And you don't have
level,
a save to get right to him.
Right. Oh, I do.
Do you?
On my Xbox.
Really?
Maybe. No, yeah, because you can just pick the chapters.
Because I'm thinking then we should just maybe
Hang on.
make a David Bowie music video.
Changes.
Oh, man. Oh, wait,
But
what's the song he sings in Labyrinth again?
Dance, magic, dance.
That's the song.
I wish we could zoom in, because when you see it, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, yeah, that's definitely,
And I didn't even think of how we can close this show.
Yep.
Does anybody have a
No.
number one favorite boss?
Bowser?
Number one favorite boss
Well,
of all.
I guess you do.
Load the picture.
Your favorite boss of all time. I'm even putting myself on the spot because I'm not ready, so I'm hoping
It's
somebody
hard.
else is going to answer.
It's hard.
I like I said before, it's just like that the last fight in Super Metroid. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole thing is there's no element in there that you could take out and say that it's just as good. Like you have to have Mother Ray in there. You have to have.
Oh, that
Metroid
is
in
totally
there.
David Bowie.
Great jacket.
Yeah, definitely.
David Bowie.
Yeah.
David Bowie.
Yep. So that's for me.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Ganondorf.
Yeah.
But it seems like a boring answer. I wish I could think of something
It
really
seems,
good.
no, it doesn't seem like a boring. It seems like a standard answer, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's not justifiable.
I mean, there's
Bowser. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Bowser's
Yeah.
a very fuck. Like I've said fuck like way too many times.
Yep, that's all I got.
Mom built
Fucky,
one.
fuck. It's alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you have to do a not Nintendo or you have to
Oh.
do a not Nintendo because we've all done Nintendo.
I've been trying to think of who my favorite boss was while you guys were going, and I can't think of anybody else but Psycho Mantis.
That's fair.
Well, there you go. There. That shows that we're
Yeah.
equal.
Diverse.
Since we couldn't think of any good Xbox bosses of any kind,
I know.
it's just
Well, I mean-
Warthog driving. Woohoo!
No, wasn't,
That's the way to end the game.
There's a very memorable boss for me the first time I played was on... Because wasn't Ninja Gaiden Xbox exclusive for a while? Just the first boss in Ninja
It
Gaiden?
was, yeah, for a while.
That was,
yeah, it was.
That was a really hard boss, and I guess it ended up being the final boss, too. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
No point in doing that anymore, but that was a very difficult game.
Oh, yeah.
Especially that boss. Nunchuck whipping your ass all around the dojo.
One of my favorite bosses that I ever got stuck on for absolutely no
Your dog
reason
likes Ninja Gaiden.
was the marker in Dead Space 2.
Oh.
Because I didn't realize you had to shoot the marker. I was like, I'm kicking this chick's ass, because spoiler, the ghost of the chick that dies in the first one, she comes back and she's like chasing after you. She touches you, you're dead. She like gets this close to you and you're dead. And so then eventually you shoot at her, she goes away, and these little demon children come at you or whatever. Oh, the demon children are coming at you. You're supposed to be shooting at the marker. My friend was sitting next to me, having just beat this, and didn't tell me anything, even though he saw me die over and over and over. Because I was lasting a really long time, but eventually I was like, what the fuck's the point? They're supposed to give me some kind of a hint.
All right, we're
You know, like when the
Yep.
yellow light goes off?
That's what
Yeah.
I was
You
thinking.
keep going.
You know? Yeah, like it was just like, it was one of a really fun boss that I got stuck on for absolutely no reason.
Well, and some of like at the end of, or with other M.
This is Amir.
Well,
Welcome back, Tim.
By our powers combined.
Hi, I'm Tim.
Anyway. But no, like in Other M, you had these just really, you were in these forced first-person scenarios where you had to find the one little square of pixels that you were supposed to look at and focus on for about 5 seconds. And then, if you did that, and then it would trigger whatever next component, and it was that, and like the last fight in Other M was terrible because of that. The fight after that, where you could come back to the station, was spoilers. That was much more satisfying.
That just needs to be the tag on this video.
Spoilers. Metal Gear, and spoilers. Metal Gear and spoilers episode.
The round table, Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
All right.
Yeah, there's all kinds of fun.
Cool.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I could keep going and talking about this for a
because
while.
we didn't
Just
even-
because we all played a lot of games, so
Well,
it.
and we
Yeah.
didn't even talk about like Demon Souls and Dark Souls, which I'm sure that
I haven't played those yet because I know
I-
I'm just going to throw everything.
I played the first Dark Souls
As
for
far
just
as-
for just a few minutes, kind of get a feel of it. And I
Yeah.
liked it a lot, but I think I got it from Redbox or something like that. I'd take it back and never touch it again.
Yeah, but that's the type of game where I'm sure there's a lot of passion behind.
Oh, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah.
you come back and you die and you die and you die and you die, and then when you finally succeed, it's just like, well, I really remember having to fight this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's probably
So that's
very
gonna be-
memorable boss fights. I mean, I played in
Yeah.
Demon Souls. I got up to the first boss, and I really wasn't all that.
Into it.
No, and
Yeah.
at first I was all about it.
Yeah.
I got sucked into the whole really difficult game, and I was like, okay, I'm up for the challenge,
Yeah.
and then I realized I wasn't, because the game was really like, it felt clunky to me.
Mm-hmm.
I understood it was basically all about memory. Like technically every single confrontation you had was a boss. Because
Yeah.
you had to memorize how they were going to come at you, and
Yeah.
every time that first encounter, almost every time they killed you. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, okay, well, now when I get up to him, I'm going to kill him first, and this is how I'm going to do it because this is what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And he just kind of progressed that way. And then when I got up to the boss, I kind of, okay, instead of dying once, I died 4 times and then beat him. And then I was like... The thing that frustrated me about Demon's Souls is that it tried too hard to frustrate me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't just frustrating me that it was difficult, it was also that the menus were trying to use like a language, so you had to actually look up what the symbols meant online, and it was like, well,
Really?
why would you do that? You made a difficult game. It's great.
Yeah.
You don't have to go any further than that.
Were you playing the Japanese localized version of Amir?
No, it had like I forget, like it was like color coded symbols,
Gotcha.
like it had a green.
Oh, that's
red,
just
and I was-
cheating because I'm partially colorblind, so I hate color coded. Just throw a color coded boss at me, I'm gonna die every time. Like freaking Treasures of Montezuma.
Oh my
you
god,
know?
the most addictive freaking video game in the
Or,
world.
How about Simon?
Simon. No, I can do Simon. But
Because it
like,
lights up.
what was it? Zuma, where you have to shoot the.
Oh yeah, the frog. Yeah, with the.
Yeah, blue and purple. It's just like, what do you mean? Yellow
That's
and green.
really
That was
insane.
right to me. Anyway, yeah,
I
it's
feel
just
like
not fair.
we're leaving out something really big.
I
It's
know.
on the tip of my tongue.
At least it's not the same thing that was there last week. Anyway, that sounds a lot dirtier than a man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what she said, but I mean technically that is
That
what
was a lot
she
dirtier.
said.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I didn't mean that.
Watch the off-air video and you'll understand. Or watch last week's show and laugh your ass off at me. Well, actually, you can't really see it, so you can't laugh at me.
No, yeah, it's cut out of the show, right? The
Yeah,
show proper.
It's got
yeah,
the black.
yeah.
What's cut out of the show? What are you talking about? What's
My-
going on?
my tooth.
Who are you people?
What are you doing in my house?
there a minute ago?
Well,
How did we change spots?
Amir?
I'm Amir.
Tim, how you doing?
Get out of my house.
I like how Brian never changes who he is. We've all been someone else. Allison's been Tim. I've been
I'm
Allison.
Brian.
You've been and it's just that's Brian.
Well,
This is Nicole.
the first time,
Who else never met?
this was Tim. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I said, "This is Tim." And I pointed at
This
Brian.
is Tim.
I have
That's
no
true.
idea
Yeah, I
why.
was Tim once.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
He was Tim
I thought you
before.
were referring
first
to
to
yourself.
Tim.
This
Yeah.
is Tim. This is Jess right here.
Episode 1,
Speaking about yourself in third person.
episode 0.
Oh,
Like
no,
E3.
what am I?
And with that, should we go to the close? Because
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
puppy's not happy.
No.
Sorry, kitty.
Poor thing.
My kitty's not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's-
That's awesome.
Well,
But she said,
just to remind you guys, this is our show doesn't end. Well, our show does end, but the conversation doesn't end here at this table. We would love for you guys to let us know what your favorite bosses are, so we can join in the conversation with you. Remember, this is more of a community thing. We're all gamers, so technically we're all part of the round table.
But if we don't
United.
immediately respond to your comments, it's because we're gaming, so don't hold that against us.
yeah,
Yeah,
I just started Borderlands. Don't expect much.
And while we're at it, if you come to if you got this far after all the edits and the dog barking and all of that stuff,
Thank you.
yes, thank
Absolutely.
you. And also, our subscriber base. When we first did the roundtable, our first roundtable show, and I realize the numbers aren't that big, of course.
Yeah, man.
But our first roundtable show netted us 7 subscribers,
Yeah.
7 awesome peeps.
7 awesome people.
It's not
You were in those
27.
7. We love you.
cool.
So I think I like if you guys. I mean, there's 27 of you watching. So if you guys have any
Join
other
in.
ideas for content that you'd like to see on the channel, let us know because we're kind of brainstorming.
We're
off
definitely.
camera
We all
too.
feel like we've left out some important bosses.
Yes.
Throw it in the
Comments.
comments.
Throw 'em
Yeah,
on
definitely
there.
list.
Yeah.
Definitely list bosses. We want to hear about them, debate about them, discuss them.
Yep.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
Bowser's number 1.
Later.
Start the show with Bowser.
End the show with Bowser.